Alright, this week's sprint brought to you by weird indexing errors. Not only are they hard to debug, but also they turn my code into a big ol' mess. So suffice to say, the sprint isn't entirely done. I'm going to show you what I've got, verified complete, and then talk a little bit about what I'm trying to deal with unsuccessfully. So first of all, like you saw in class, I've got my terrain that is being generated from a height map. It's happening. I can pull it up right here, and as you can see, it's got a little bit of funkiness to it. It's not just a flat grid. I can go ahead and scale that up if I want to scale that's the max height, right? Yeah, the max height scaled up to 40. I can do that, and I haven't fixed that issue yet, but look, it's way different now. So that's working. We'll go ahead and scale that back to a reasonable, distance now. Oops. There we go. So I've gotten that all done. As you could see, I got texturing to kind of work. Kind of. There's a little bit of weirdness going on here in the corners that I took some time to try and figure out, but figured that at the rate it was going, it wasn't a useful thing to be pursuing. So I moved on to collision stuff, which if you'll give me a second to turn it on, I have all of the cells creating their individual AABBs that aren't really AABBs. I have them working on just a min and max point. That is in the draw. So go ahead and render all of those. Bam. We've got individual cells. Because of the grid issues, they're not particularly lined up the way they should be. But oops, they're there and they adjust based on the height difference of the cell. So that's neat. Then the next thing I got working was a single point. As you can see here, I have a ship. It's got a point on the bottom, and that point I'm having projected onto the grid and highlighting the grid square that it follows around. So that is working nicely. That is done by comparing, let's see here. So we've got the tester here, highlight cell under. So that is getting the world position cell index. So basically what it does is it checks all the cells in the array of cells until it finds one that the given point is inside of, because obviously a single point can only be inside of one square at a time. Once it finds it, it returns it. If it doesn't find one, returns -1. And as you saw up here with the method, I call the render on the visualizer only if there was a cell that it found to actually work on. I was trying to get the highlight all the cells within the AABB done tonight, but I was running into an issue because my indexing is entirely different than what I thought it was. So I had thought that my vertices and by consequence my cells, etc., were created from the top left across, then down to the next row and across. and that is how I got my various methods below when I wanted to get, a specific vertex. I was calling the method that was assuming that this is the way they were created. But having running into some really weird issues with my cell indexing when I was trying to do the uh, the highlight entire AABB, I just boiled it down to, all right, highlight only cell 00, and instead of being the one up here like I expected, it was down here, which was weird because it is the opposite corner of what I expected. So trying other points, things, instead of the cells being indexed from top left to right, then left to right, down the square this way, it seems like they're being generated from the bottom right up, then back down, and then up, which is not what I'm going for. So in trying to figure out why that was, because all the data that I was printing out in here looked to be pretty much what I wanted, I discovered that the actual vertices themselves are also not getting indexed like I wanted to. Um, so if I scroll on down here to where the triangles start, so I have it printing out the cell index, and this is exactly what I expected from the first cell index. Cell index 0 is 0, 10, 11, 1. Should be around the top left corner down in a counterclockwise fashion. But then going down to cell index number 1, which should be the next um, the next cell to the right of the first one, it actually goes down a row, which is, of course, the opposite of what I saw in the actual testing when I increased what should have been, to the right by 1. Now this is telling me that it should have been up by 1, or this is telling me that it should have gone down by 1. So from the top left, down 1, still on the left side, when actually 0, 0 was on the bottom right, and this is going up, which is very confusing. So then I tried to cut it down to just a single strip of, of one line, and it was, in fact, the single strip of vertices was going up this side. So I don't know exactly how that's happening. Like I showed you in class, I have all the actual uh, in local space coordinates being printed out, and I was under the assumption that negative zero point 5 would be the top left, but I don't think that's true, and so I'm going to have to entirely reorganize how I'm creating my model in order to get my indices for everything to work correctly, and I can't wrap my brain around that at this point. So unfortunately, semi-finished, ran into problems that were actually problems all along, and I just didn't notice because I was working with squares instead of, a rectangle where things would have been off much earlier. Such is life. And that's it. That's all I got. I unfortunately did not get a chance to do any work on my AI project because of these issues. I was knuckling down and trying to get it done so I could continue on to work on AI, and these, the cascading issues have caught up to me. Um, I'll do more work on it coming up, but that's all I got for now.